we had some updates to the David case that I've been following on stream with you guys for, like, what, half a year now? 10 months? Something like that? I don't know. It's like September last year. Autopsy details released in the Celeste Rivas case following David's arrest: multiple penetrating injuries, amputated left ring and pinky fingers, severely decomposed body, head partially skeletonized, left eye absent. And they have one of these, like, where does it hurt sheets up here, pointing to different places where there is damage done. You're sure China's behind this? The scientists, they're known to offer money for this kind of stuff, and if you decline, you're a loose end. Imagine. We already knew about the severe decomposition because it took them like weeks to even identify the body. It's very interesting that specific fingers were amputated. That makes me wonder if he was trying to remove the fingers that had the matching tattoos. Because they had matching tattoos on one of their fingers, and I don't remember which one it was. Prosecutors say they found a significant amount of child pornography on David's iPhone during the investigation. The singer is charged with murdering Celeste Rivas, whom he allegedly began having sex with when she was 12, then stabbing and mutilating her body. He pleaded not guilty. Preliminary hearing May 1st. This case is very dark. He's right about that. Yeah, that's really weird. I saw, you know, that's the entire video. The words, the animation, the fucking, that's weird. Why would you do this? Like, if you're going to murder someone, maybe don't make songs about it, question mark? What in the SoundCloud artist is this crap? Is he the type that leaves hints of their crimes? I said this the other day to my mods. I was like, it's a shame we live in the world we do because I can't make the joke I want to because he's like the Riddler, but I can't say what he would be as the Riddler.
Oh, this is not how this was supposed to go.
The full unedited video clip of David playing his unreleased song has surfaced on the internet. Nobody ever caught me, but I've spoken too soon. In the back of a police car, I forgot whatever I knew. I ain't telling nothing. Do the same if they ask you about her is insane. Are those like voicemails of her? That's even creepier. B Jammin', thank you. The cheese pizza on David's phone is almost certainly pics of Celeste. Sean said even though a 16-year-old is legal, you can't have pictures of them. Well, Celeste wasn't 16. She was 14 when she was murdered. Her birthday was after she was already murderated. So she was 14, and supposedly they started dating when she was 12. So any pictures he has are like immensely illegal. And he was with her for a couple, yeah, he was with her for a couple of years. Probably every guy who enjoyed David's music all had reflections of themselves beating up their girlfriends in the past.
What?
I don't know, man. That's a bit of projection. This is like sad boy rap, right? Where it's like you were with a woman that you loved, but then you fucked up and you lost her, and then you listen to all this sad boy rap because you know you fucked up, but you can't admit that you fucked up, so you make it her fault in song form. Sticking with murdered because she got too old. Jesus fuck. And then this weird article title, they made David a star, now they want him convicted of murder. What a weird title. A legion of young fans propelled the singer David to viral fame, and now that he's been charged with the murder of a 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, they say the clues were in their Discord all along. And they got a cool little conspiracy board here. Sophia was sound asleep at her parents' apartment when the unthinkable happened. It was almost midnight on a Monday last September, and her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. She got out of bed and went over to her computer, her body pulsing with adrenaline. Messages were pouring in on the Discord server she moderated. She began to panic. What the fuck is happening? One Discord user wrote in the general chat. Y'all, I can't go to sleep now, wrote another. I have school tomorrow, someone else chimed in. Daddy David may be getting cancelled, a separate user wrote. Now, it just says a legion of young fans, alright? So, like, I don't know if I'm reading messages from minors or not, but regardless, anyone calling this guy Daddy David in the Discord server, that's a bit creepy. That's a bit weird. That's a bit strange, especially since we know that Daddy David has pedophilic tendencies. David slimed someone, another user said, slaying for murder. The Discord server known as David's Closet. Can we just take a second and appreciate just how fucking dumb this David guy is? Like, it's like everywhere I turn, he has managed to fuck up on another level that I didn't even expect. Like, holy I am so glad he is this dumb. The Discord server, known as David's Closet for fans of the SoundCloud native singer-songwriter David, was processing horrific news in real time. Hours earlier, on the afternoon of September 8th, a decomposing body had been discovered in the front trunk of a black Tesla in Los Angeles tow yard. It was registered in Texas to the then 20-year-old David Anthony Burke, the real name of David. Sophia, who is 24 and lives in Canada, was near speechless. She, like many sources in this piece, asked to be identified by either a username, pseudonym, or first name out of fear of harassment. Bro, what the fuck? She typed into the Discord general chat, her hands shaking. Just, what the fuck? Boy, I hope if I ever get, like, murdered by the government, you guys have a much interesting reaction in Discord than these people did. David's Closet. My guy is making OJ If I Did It Simpson seem clever with how brazen he is about things. Closet? Seriously? Well, at least he didn't name it David's Tesla trunk, right? Like, that's probably only the worst way he could have gone. Romantic Homicide, a moody electronic ballad that Sophia had first discovered, like so many others, as a viral earworm on TikTok. In the music video, David, dressed as Itami, his murderous blindfolded alter ego, stands in front of a woman's lifeless, blood-splattered body. A knife drops from his hand. And then there was the 2025 music video for One More Dance, which evokes a 1990s horror movie a la The Blair Witch Project. The opening scene shows Itami, again played by David, dragging his own body across the ground, dumping it in front of a car, and watching his friends stuff it into the trunk. The video culminates with his friends burying him alive in an open grave. Now, David's fans wondered in the Discord server, was David's art imitating his life, or was it the other way around? David didn't kill someone, Itami did, one user wrote. Shut the fuck up, you absolute retard! Holy! He was trying to tell us all along, wrote another from, who posted an image of a particularly catchy lyric from Romantic Homicide. In the back of my mind, I killed you. Yeah, we listened to that one before. We also listened to an interview of him explaining how too deep 5 me the lyrics were. Sophia joined David's Discord more than 2 years earlier. She liked the song Romantic Homicide. But more importantly, her crush, whom she'd met while playing a first-person shooter game called Valorant, claimed to be a friend of David's. Some e-girls aren't gonna make it, chat. All the time she put into the Discord server was worth it. She wasn't just a part of David's community, she was a curator of it. In the early hours of September 9th, though, Sophia started to resent her role as a moderator. She didn't like being one of the adults in the room, tasked with wrangling an out-of-control conversation. I liked the prestige that came with being a mod, but I didn't like having to do mod work. That's a bad moderator, chat. There was confusion, pandemonium, and, as one might expect from extremely online Zoomers posting on Discord, there were jokes, many in exceptionally poor taste. Some speculated that David had been framed, that the news was fake, or that this was all a promo for the forthcoming album that David had been teasing incessantly on social media. If this fucking SoundCloud rapper had managed to stage a disappearance and a murder on the same scale as, like, what the director of Cannibal Holocaust had to go through to prove that he didn't actually kill anyone, I would be a level of impressed that I wouldn't even know how to extrapolate into words. As anxious as Sophia felt, discussing a murder case in real time, one involving a suspect that everyone had at least a parasocial relationship with, was also kind of thrilling.
Really?
Why are women? Sophia was close enough to David that they had each other's cell phone numbers. He'd even FaceTimed her once to ask for help deleting a Twitch live stream. Sophia was on another call and missed it. She liked David, of course, and felt protective of his career. Sometimes you gotta know when to be like, this bitch a murderer, allegedly, and maybe I should not be associated. Initially, Sophia thought there was no way David could have been involved. He just played a show in Chicago, and she figured someone must have borrowed or stolen his car while he was out of town. To her, it seemed like an injustice that this would happen just as David was about to become a world-famous superstar. He was 2 weeks away from playing the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles, before headlining a European tour the following month, capping off a dizzying year in which he also made his Coachella debut. Guilty or not, Sophia knew the damage had been done. "Tour finna get cancelled, broken heart," Sophia posted in the general chat of the Discord server. A short while later, in all caps, her frustration boiled over. "This boy got collab left and right just for this shit to happen?" Soon, the grave reality of the situation began to sink in. "We're finna end up in a documentary," one user posted around 2:15 a.m. He's right, add him to the collage. By 7 a.m., the speculation in David's Discord server had become so rampant the moderators disabled new posts. Sophia was scared, feeling as if she'd suddenly been thrust into a criminal investigation. Over the next several days, David's remaining tour dates would get cancelled, just as Sophia had predicted. So would the deluxe version of his first studio album, initially slated for release on September 19th. His just-launched fashion campaign with Hollister and Crocs would get canned, and the Grammy-winning singer Kali Uchis would pull her duet with David from streaming platforms. It seemed to many of David's former fans that his arrest for murder would be imminent too. When it wasn't, which was weird, they took matters into their own hands. Overwhelmed by a sense of urgency, one-time David stans began combing through his Discord server, suspecting it contained information so incriminating that it was only a matter of time before it got wiped. In the end, even Sophia couldn't have imagined how quickly many of her peers turned against their favorite musician, splintering and spiraling into a feverish and often personal quest for justice. Like most people his age, David Berg grew up on the internet and learned from a young age how to weaponize it. He was born in 2005, the same year YouTube launched, and has also been posting videos to the platform since at least the age of 13. Around the same time, he moved with his devout Christian family from Queens, New York, to a middle-class suburb of Houston. Some of his earliest uploads are screen recordings of his plays on Fortnite, a battle royale-style video game he was obsessed with. They offered him the attention and social interaction he seemed to be otherwise lacking. This is really weird, like how just nice this article is being. And it's kind of what I posted the other day as well. Like if I go back here, where it said breaking, David had tons of child porn on his phone, prosecutors claim. And I was like, I remember going through this case last year, and one of the articles from Men's Journal kept cropping up in my mind whenever new info comes out. This article is basically like a glaze for David. It was that David continues to get good news amid Celeste Rivas investigation. Good news, we finally arrested you. Better late than never. Earlier this month, 20-year-old singer David was thrust into the center of a grim investigation after authorities found the dismembered and decaying body of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas in the trunk of one of his cars. You know what I think is more grim? The fact that it was in his car. Like, why are we giving him benefit of the doubt? Well, maybe the fact that this woman, this child, got murdered might be the grim thing. Well, this is not exactly a good way to make headlines, and it had already cost him some sponsorships and support from his record label. David has gotten some good news this week, as his music is now more popular than it has been in years. I was reading this to you guys in September last year, like, what the actual fuck? What is this glazing, bro? Why is there so much, like, nicety towards this fucking guy? He was grinding. He was posting every day, playing every day. He was trying his hardest to get somewhere, said a 21-year-old New York-based gamer who goes by the username Sacred What the Fuck. Bro, I would just wake up sometimes and it would just be multiple posts from him. He was trying to pop off, just get one good video. Those massive views also brought copyright strikes, warnings from YouTube prompted by record labels to remove the songs or risk getting booted from the platform. That's when, according to the now mythic origin story that David has relayed in the press, his mom had a life-altering suggestion. Why didn't her son make his own damn music? Using his iPhone, a pair of earbuds, and a mobile app called BandLab, David, he adopted the moniker around this time, in part for search engine optimization, huddled in his sister's closet and recorded himself freestyling over a royalty-free piano beat he found on YouTube. He uploaded the track called Run Away to SoundCloud in December 2021 and tagged it with keywords that helped it go viral. Emo, chill, lo-fi, slowed, and reverb. blow this up for you page. But it wasn't until July 2022 where he self-released the brooding ballad, Romantic Homicide, that the then 17-year-old really blew up. So he was 17 with a 12-year-old? That's kinda what the fuck, brother? What are you actually doing? 2 months later, David signed a record deal with Interscope Records' Darkroom imprint. The comparisons to Billie Eilish, who also scored a deal with Darkroom as a teenager after uploading tracks to SoundCloud, were immediate. In magazine profiles, David was heralded as a new kind of wonderkind, a sheltered gamer who accidentally became a pop star, seemingly overnight. GQ dubbed him a mouthpiece for Gen Z heartache. NME declared he was a multi-genre visionary. And Billboard christened David one of alternative music's most promising new artists. I wanna mention once again, I never heard of this guy until he allegedly killed that girl. When I found him, it was like, wow, he made this in his closet on headphones on BandLab. That's so cool. I could do that too, says Ikare, a popular TikToker who used to dream about collaborating with David. That was his whole thing. That was his claim to fame. I think that's really what brought in a lot of younger audiences. Before Ikare found his niche dressing as a Teletubby and singing in the shower. Yeah, that certainly is a niche, what the fuck? He was inspired by David's humble beginnings. People looked up to him, Ikare said, because of David's explosive breakout from a homemade, I made this in my bedroom niche. That's where David lived, and he kind of was the most successful to do that. David communicated with his super young fans through his Discord. His server was created by a fan named Moji around the time he signed his record deal. Though not officially affiliated with Darkroom, the Discord had a clear benefit to the label. It was a way to promote releases, tour dates, and merchandise directly to superfans. As someone who's been a content creator for over 8 years with a Discord server for over 8 years, this being like a revelation is just very odd to me. Neither Mogul Vision, Darkroom, Interscope, Geffen, A&M Records, or its parent company, Universal Music Group, responded to a request for comment. The tactics also cemented David's perceived authenticity as a chronically online teenager without much media training. In February 2023, 3 months before he dropped his debut EP and kicked off his first European tour, David popped into the Discord with an announcement. He'd officially named the blindfold character he'd portrayed in the video for Romantic Homicide. His name was Itami, the Japanese word for pain. David explained, and he was only the first character of many to come in his own cinematic universe, which he called the Davidverse. Oh, I hate this guy so much. A few days later, he posted about Itami on X, telling fans to feel free to leave conspiracy theories in the YouTube caption for a music video featuring the character. David took the concept a step further, instructing his fans to look for Easter eggs. He wears a blindfold for the sole purpose of not being held accountable for the pain he causes, reads the caption. He's been planted in all of my music videos, but it's not clear what his motive is. You will find out soon. All he did was be a pedophilic murderer. This is crazy, man. When Sarah, who is 30 and works in veterinary medicine in Oregon, first heard about the body uncovered from David's car, she had the same thought as Sophia. David must have been framed. Sarah had joined the musician's Discord server after hearing Romantic Homicide on TikTok and loving its slow-building melody and evocative lyrics, but she always interpreted them as metaphorical, like, you're dead emotionally to me, you know? The media literacy crowd when they have to be media literate. Then she came across a Reddit post and began to fear that David's lyrics were more literal. The post was written by a since-deleted user who was worried in the days before the human remains in David's Tesla had been identified, that they already knew who the victim was, a close friend, a little sister from the Inland Empire, ran away last year. I don't know what that means. And this is who she was with. The message, which has also been deleted, reads in part, I'm terrified that's who is in the car. Nobody has heard from her in months. I won't release names as she's still a minor, but she was from Lake Elsinore. On September 18th, when the Los Angeles Police Department publicly released the name of the victim, Sarah felt sick to her stomach. It was 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, as the Reddit post had suggested. She was from Lake Elsinore, a working-class city about 75 miles southeast of Los Angeles. She had indeed been reported missing by her family. In photos of Rivas Hernandez splashed across the news, she had big brown eyes, a cleft chin, and middle-parted black ringlets that fell past her shoulders. She wore a gold cross around her neck and dressed like the middle schooler she was, jeans, sneakers, and zip-up hoodies from The Gap. For Sarah, who said she was groomed as a teenager by an adult in a gaming chat room, it was not difficult to imagine that Rivas Hernandez may have met David online, maybe in a Discord server. Sarah remembers thinking, "I've been Celeste, I've been in her shoes." It wasn't the first time that Sarah, who enjoyed sleuthing and had grown up watching the 2010s reality show Catfish, about people using fake online identities, had empathized with a young female murder victim. I cannot believe that this show, like, was still running in the 2020s. Like, the fact that there are still people getting catfished instead of asking questions is insane to me in current year. Sarah, like legions of others who once streamed romantic homicide on repeat, turned on David. Sarah blocked his music on Spotify and joined newly created Discord servers with names like The David Case and David Leaks, where former fans are now scouring the artist's digital footprint for traces of Rivas Hernandez. True crime buffs, many of whom had never previously heard of David, but were now scandalized by his morbid lyrics, became engrossed with the murder mystery too. They swarmed r/David, a subreddit where fans once posted interpretations of song lyrics and David's social media posts. Only now, the speculation was unified and turbocharged by a shared theory that David groomed Rivas Hernandez online, engaged in a sexual relationship with her, and housed her when she ran away from home at just 13 years old. I mean, this wasn't really a theory. This was literally like posted in the news stories we were reading last year. On Twitch, where a sassy girl in a hoodie and oversized glasses appeared to taunt and embarrass David during a live stream, even accusing him of raping kids, and in David's own music videos, which frequently featured actors who shared a resemblance to Rivas Hernandez with olive skin and curly dark hair.
Where's your media
I personally don't.
Yo, I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything.
Yeah, that's not weird at all.
I took it off because they didn't go with the silver.
Season it. It's already seasoned, bro. It's Alfredo.
Seasoning.
Chat. Pray for his career, chat. Are we done? Are we?
We need to delete this.
Are we? Maz, can we delete all VoDs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too? Can we delete anything? You done for, bro? Y'all are not done? Now you gonna Epstein? Yo, wait.
Oh, look it. Answer that one. That's so mean if you don't answer
Which
that.
one? What's good, David? Big fan, big spam. Oh, thank you, Mitochondria. Appreciate you.
I gotta stop with him if you even.
I don't know. Why would you say something like that? Hearing him speak regularly, he is a bit creepy to you. This guy was apparently mega popular. News to me. When sleuths noticed that Aissa Collins, a 23-year-old model and actor who played David's love interest in the video for Sleep Well, had also appeared in his Instagram photos and Twitch streams, they flooded her social media pages with accusations relating to Rivas Hernandez. Anyone and everyone who had been photographed regularly alongside David, including the video game streamer Neo Langston, better known by his handle Neo the Asian, I don't know who that is, became fair game to online interrogators. I think it's like, it's fair to question a content creator who was like friendly with a different content creator who now is in a pile of shit, but I don't think like fucking flooding them is going to get you anywhere, because that's just going to make them not want to answer it and delete all messages. You know? It's fair to be like, hey, did you know this shit about David? And then see what their reaction is, you know? On Reddit and TikTok, nearly every aspect of the case was debated endlessly, including the length of time Rivas Hernandez's remains had been in the Tesla and the exact date she died. There were even more grisly questions. Had her body been dismembered or merely decomposed? It would be another several months until the LA County District Attorney confirmed both were true. Meanwhile, conspiracies proliferated about David having hired doppelgangers as a way to hide his alleged relationship with an underage runaway. That is a conspiracy. I don't think he's smart enough to have thought of that. These theories may have seemed outlandish if David hadn't explicitly trained his fans through his introduction of Itami and the so-called David-verse to analyze his music for hidden meanings. Symbolism, fantasy, and mythology, much of it inspired by Japanese anime and world-building video games like Fortnite, were so central to David's brand that one of his moderators even created a channel in his Discord to encourage conjecture. The channel was described as a place to discuss your theories and whatever you think the lore is going to be in the future projects. Oh no. Oh no, brother. It was a chilly September afternoon, but Ghost felt flush. Glued to the computer in his bedroom in New Jersey, he just stumbled upon what he considered a bombshell piece of evidence. Ghost had joined David's Discord server in 2022, not long after it was created. He and David were in the same Fortnite-related Discord servers previously, Ghost says. And when he found out that David was a musician, he was excited to be among the first to know about new releases. But within a couple of years, Ghost, along with many other early fans, had grown impatient with the singer, whom they felt was spending too much time on TikTok and not enough in the studio. In one TikTok from early 2024, David professed to be consumed with a quote-unquote Hello Kitty girl he'd met 3 years earlier. In another, posted later that year, just before David acquired nearly half a dozen new facial piercings, he trolled his fans by captioning a video of himself driving a Tesla and listening to new music from Tyler, the Creator. I'm too busy playing Fortnite to finish my album. When David's first studio album, Withered, finally dropped in April 2025, Ghost was thrilled. Early 2024, and he says to his fans, I'm too busy playing Fortnite to finish my album. And then his album still doesn't drop for like another year and some change. I don't know. I don't kind of like that, right? Like, I feel like if your fans are asking you, hey, where's the thing? You should probably answer them instead of make fun of them in that regard. But his feelings changed completely 5 months later when he heard about Rivas Hernandez's murder from a video that auto-played on his YouTube feed. It's like a switch was flipped, he said, imagining that Rivas Hernandez must have been the Hello Kitty girl. Ghost surged with anger and a desire for vengeance. He could feel himself slipping into detective mode. It was, as an online alias might suggest, one that he particularly enjoyed. Oh my god, this article is written with so much candy-assery. I'm like turning gay in real time. Ghost, despite being just a 16-year-old, is a self-described ethical hacker who taught himself how to use open source intelligence. Even Ghost was startled at how seemingly easy it was to dig up a mention of Rivas Hernandez in David's Discord server. When he and a friend typed the word Celeste into the search bar, they were flabbergasted to find an exchange from August 2024, more than a year before her body was found. David had posted in the general chat, I'm in a song crisis right now. It was unclear whether he was looking for suggestions, just venting, or trying to stir up conversation. But the server lit up in response. It was a rare, exciting occurrence. One of the dozens of responses was from a user whose account has since been deleted. It read, drop the one with the missing girl, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Ghost stared at his computer screen, eyes wide like saucers, feeling the weight of a girl's death on his shoulders. There was no other way he could interpret the message. At least one person in the Discord server knew Rivas Hernandez by name, and they knew she'd been missing. I was like, oh my god, this is big, Ghost says. Beads of sweat dripped onto his mousepad as Ghost realized that some messages in the server were being deleted in real time. He wondered what kind of incriminating information moderators, or even David himself, might be trying to hide. They'd already disabled the chat, and Ghost worried it was only a matter of time before they wiped the server completely. Well, if only a man had found out about this early on, they might have been able to archive the whole server, man. It's a shame that it was the women who were like, oh no, we must figure out what's going on, because I'm sure they didn't archive the whole server. What is this fanfic? I don't know. This is wild. He remembers thinking, I have access to the server that's being limited as we speak, and I'm going to do everything in my power to archive it. My only chance is now, if I miss that chance, I won't be able to do anything. At least he had this much foresight. He's correct in that kind of action. From his bedroom in his parents' home, Ghost used his security token on Discord to extract data from the server. The entire download of some 3.7 gigabytes took about 9 hours. Ghost spent much of that time nervously pacing back and forth across his room. When the download was complete, he uploaded the HTML code to the Internet Archive and shared it on r/David. A few days later, May, a 22-year-old law student in the Netherlands, was snooping around David's closet when she noticed the same thing as Ghost. That was very suspicious to me. Why are their messages getting deleted, she wondered. Seeking to validate her suspicions and crowdsource intelligence, May sounded the alarm on r/David. My post blew up. I got over 550,000 views on it. A bunch of people started DMing me, May says. People started sending me information. May, a research-obsessed paralegal, considers herself a rational person who cares deeply about the truth. She was never a fan of David's, but something about the mythology of his music and the brutality of Rivas Hernandez's death nagged at her. She became determined to get to the bottom of it. Scrolling through r/David one night, May landed on a screenshot that made her gasp. It showed a message Sophia had sent in the general chat of David's Discord server in late 2024, roughly a year earlier. Members had been lamenting that David had gotten too popular and wasn't engaging with them online the way he once did. One member said that she used to chat with David over Instagram and Snapchat DMs. Sophia, who noted that she'd seen David's Twitch streams go from attracting 10,000 viewers to more than 100,000, had a flex of her own. One time he called me because he was trying to delete that stream with his girlfriend. Why is this so long?
New reaction this morning after Houston area singer David was hit with murder charges this week. For the first time, the family of the victim, 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, is speaking out. They released this statement last night thanking investigators and the community for their support, remembering Celeste as a strong, joyful girl who loved to sing and loved to dance, adding all they want now is justice. And this comes after singer David appeared in court on Monday facing the murder charge, months after investigators say the teen's body was found inside of his car. We'll keep you updated on the latest details as the case develops.
This is a real article, I hope. David case, singer's phone contains significant amount of child pornography, prosecutors said. A significant amount of child porn was discovered on a phone belonging to singer David, who's accused of murdering a teen girl, prosecutors said during a hearing on Thursday. The hearing was a procedural check-in as prosecutors and defense attorneys determined the next steps in the case involving the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Thursday also marks 1 year since she was last known to be alive. Although a preliminary hearing appeared on Thursday's court calendar, it didn't go forward. Instead, the matter was handled as a status conference referred to as a 3 of 10 that sets the stage for upcoming proceedings, including the exchange of evidence. David appeared in court in handcuffs wearing an orange jail jumpsuit. He was then unshackled by a deputy. For some reason, the court rendition is giving off Somalian energy. His preliminary hearing was set for Friday, May 1st, and that's when evidence and testimony will be presented to show a judge that there is enough evidence to move to trial. That hearing could be delayed next week if either side says they're not ready or that enough discovery has not been handed over to the defense. On Thursday, prosecutors revealed that David's iPhone contained what they described as a significant amount of child sexual abuse material, evidence they said will be reviewed by forensic experts. Prosecutors have said they have more than 40 terabytes of discovery to turn over. A volume they say could slow the case progress. That includes data from phones, computers, tablets, and iCloud, where David had about 3 terabytes stored. And there's been a lot of people on social media saying that he had 40 terabytes of child porn. It's not 40 terabytes of child porn, it's 40 terabytes of evidence against him, including the child porn. But 40 terabytes is kind of a fucking lot of evidence, regardless of what it is. So far, only about 30% of all the evidence has been turned over to the defense. Prosecutors also revealed that there were 3 investigative grand juries that looked at the case, one in November, one in December, and one in February. They were investigative grand juries to help compel testimony and not to gain indictments. Much of the hearing was discussion about setting dates and the large amount of evidence the Los Angeles Police Department and the District Attorney's Office needs to give to the defense. The court will reconvene on Wednesday, April 29th, to check in on that progress and if a preliminary hearing can actually occur on May 1st. Thursday's hearing comes 1 day after the release of the teen's autopsy report that describes what prosecutors call a brutal killing. Attention surrounding the case is intensified with Wednesday's release of the autopsy report, which outlines how Celeste died. According to the report, the cause and manner of death for the teen was listed as multiple penetrating injuries caused by objects. The manner of death was ruled a homicide. According to the report, Celeste's body weighed just 71 pounds when it was found dismembered in the front trunk of the Tesla. The LA County Medical Examiner's Office said 1 stab wound was on her right abdomen with an injury to her liver, and a second stab wound was on her left chest. Her body was found in what the medical examiner's office called an advanced state of decomposition and dismembered into several parts. Even the left ring and pinky fingers appear to have been mutilated. Where her body was dismembered, the report says, multiple fragments of blue plastic material are found embedded in the cut surfaces. The report also shows there were presumptive positives for benzodiazepines and methamphetamines MDMA in her system. Celeste's family issued a statement through their attorney saying they're devastated by the findings. The Rivas Hernandez family is absolutely devastated by the findings contained in the medical examiner's report involving the horrible and gruesome death of their beloved daughter. These findings have caused profound emotional pain for the family. They respectfully ask for privacy, understanding, and patience as they process this information. Jesus and Mercedes will not attend David Anthony Burke's hearing tomorrow. The Rivas Hernandez family sincerely appreciates the community's support and concern. The report does not include any evidence connecting David to Celeste's death, but prosecutors who charge the singer with murder, mutilation of remains, and continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14 say they have a strong case through forensic and digital evidence. David has pleaded not guilty to the charges, and his attorneys say they'll defend his innocence. He will remain in custody on no bail. Wow, an actual no bail in LA? That's crazy. A judge with some common sense? Actually crazy. The singer was being held at the LAPD 77th Division, which is why he was dressed casually in court on Monday and not wearing a jail uniform. He was eventually transferred to Twin Towers Correctional Facility. Mr. President, a second murderous rap artist has hit the building. Which is the same facility where Nick Rayner, who is accused of killing his parents, Rob and Michelle Rayner, is being held. ABC News learned David is being segregated away from other inmates due to his fame and the notoriety of the case. When the time comes for the case to go to a jury, the medical examiner's report is one of the pieces of the puzzle that jurors will be considering. If a jury is to convict, the specifics of how someone was killed play a huge role in what charges to go with. David faces a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman said. He said he and his office will decide whether to seek the death penalty at a later time. Well, I don't think they would get it because, again, it's LA and it's a heavy liberal area, but I would love to see the death penalty get carried out in this case. Throughout the 7-month investigation, the LAPD has faced criticism for how it has handled the case. It was handled very incompetently, and for its decision not to provide details. LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell noted at Monday's news conference. Investigators believe Celeste was dead for many months before her remains were found. I want to be clear about something. My duty is not to fuel speculation. It is to deliver justice, the police chief said. That requires patience and discipline on everybody's part. This investigation was driven by a single purpose: to secure justice for Celeste Rivas and for those who loved her. We had to be certain that nothing we said or did would ever jeopardize this case, he added. The substantial amount of time that passed between her death and the discovery meant that crucial evidence had degraded or disappeared. Celeste, a reported runaway from Lake Elsinore in Riverside County, was last known to be alive on April 23, 2025, when she arrived at David's rented home in the Hollywood Hills, according to McDonnell. She was never heard from again. April 23rd is the same day tickets for David's world tour went on pre-sale. Prosecutors believe Celeste's body was mutilated on May 5th, and her remains weren't found until months later in September. David, who first went viral on TikTok, where he has nearly 4 million followers, had been on his Withered World Tour when the teen's body was discovered in his vehicle. The last few shows of the tour, including those in San Francisco and LA, were canceled. Let's just see what's in this video.
Kevin Ozebek joining us now after speaking with some legal experts. Kevin?
And Mark and Michelle, based on this felony complaint we now have, and based on what the district attorney said today, we now have a sense of what prosecutors believe happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Now, David isn't just being charged with murder. He's being charged with murder with these 3 special circumstances. Prosecutors say the murder was for financial gain, the victim Celeste was a witness to a crime, and that David killed her by means of lying in wait. That means the murder was deliberate.
Ooh.
What their theory appears to be is that David entered into a sexual relationship with an underage girl. At some point, David became concerned, either through the girl or a third party, that this was going to be reported to an investigating agency, and that he then lured her to his house, killed her, and dismembered her to avoid her going to the police.
It's a brutal theory, but the fact...
If that theory would be correct, that he was worried about, like, the repercussions raping a child would have on his career, why did he put it in so many of his music? Why did he do that?
Facts are just as brutal when it comes to the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. District Attorney Nathan Hochman says his prosecutors are ready to prove that theory beyond a reasonable doubt.
What makes us confident is the totality of the evidence.
Hochman says forensics evidence, some of it likely
Is that
from
a hot
David's
dog
Tesla,
stand?
where Celeste's body was found in 2 cadaver bags, as well as physical and digital evidence, will prove David committed the crime. On top of murder, the 21-year-old singer is also charged with 1 count of mutilation of human remains and 1 count of continuous sexual abuse. Prosecutors say since 2023, David had substantial sexual conduct at least 3 times with Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who again was just 14 when she was murdered.
They have established that there was this long relationship that took place, and that really puts David on the hook here.
Former prosecutor Mary David says from what she saw Hochman present today, she thinks he's building a strong case against David.
There isn't necessarily one smoking gun, but there are just so many pieces that cannot be ignored when you look at the situation overall.
David's legal team says the evidence will clear their celebrity client and that we will vigorously defend David's innocence. R.J. Dreiling is a former prosecutor turned criminal.
Yeah, I think people believe that David is innocent just as much as they believe OJ actually didn't do it. Like, come on, bro.
Criminal defense attorney.
What I expect the defense to argue is to say, look, you guys had this case since September or October. There's, it's been a long time, and you don't really have the smoking gun. You're just piecing together circumstances rather than telling people how exactly she died and what exactly David did.
Now, if prosecutors do get David convicted with these special circumstances, they could pursue the death penalty when it comes time to sentence. Hochman today did not say if he decided yet if he does want to go down that route. Now, Governor Newsom has signed an executive order halting executions in this state, but that doesn't stop convicted criminals from receiving that sentence, Mark and Michelle.
Yeah, I still don't think a death penalty would ever actually get acted on in California because California is not a real place. No bail. But I would really love to see the death penalty pass in this instance. This man was raping a child and then killed that child. Like, what?
And when Celeste's body was found last year, David was on tour promoting his debut album. The 21-year-old was on a path to stardom, but many had not heard about the singer. And we continue our team coverage with Mark Robles live in the studio. Mark?
Yeah, David, no doubt about it. David was a rising star, pivoting from YouTube content creation to music. After going viral, he opened for singer SZA before launching his own world tour. To his fans, he was huge. To others, his connection to the death investigation was the first time they heard his name.
Again, the first time I ever heard of this individual was because of this murder case. I had no idea who the fuck he was before.
Singer with millions of followers on social media did not happen overnight, but it certainly came quick.
Why does he look like I Show
Born
Speed
in
with the
Queens,
glasses
New York,
on?
David's real name is David Anthony Burke. As a child, he moved to Houston, Texas. The now 21-year-old's career didn't start with music. He began as a streamer, playing games like Fortnite, hoping to gain fame and followers on YouTube before turning to original music.
Jesus Christ. He's got more metal in his face here than a fucking sad girl in high school.
Some of his songs going viral on TikTok, including his 2022 track Romantic Homicide. It peaked at number 4 on Billboard's Hot Rock and Alternative.
Reminder that his character Itami, the Japanese word for pain, wears the blindfold so that he is blind to the pain that he inflicts on others.
Songs chart. He performed it on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Of course he went on fucking Jimmy Kimmel. Hey yo, Jimmy! What's it like platforming a child predator, Jimmy?
He had signed a record deal and at 20 years old, just 1 year ago, released his debut album, Withered, sending him on his first world tour. He spoke last August to ABC's Gio Benitez.
What's it like for you looking back? And because it wasn't that long ago, to see how your life has changed now.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a blessing to be able to like express myself and release my art and help people around the world too. But
once again, I have never heard of this individual, and he's doing like mainstream media circuit interviews seemingly regularly and going on mainstream TV shows to perform. What the fuck? How is this happening? Do they just make these people in a factory?
So I was like at home, just video games, writing, poetry, reading books.
He says it was that upbringing that led to all this.
Yeah, it was his upbringing that led to him being a child predator and having a sexual relationship with a child and then murdering that child. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, narrator.
The momentum that once seemed unstoppable, now grinding to a halt. Well, David's world tour was, of course, canceled amid the death investigation. Those tour dates last year included a September stop in Los Angeles at the Greek Theater, along with a scheduled performance at LA's Grammy Museum. Live here in studio, Mark Cotarrobles, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, fascinating story, Mark. Thank you for that. And stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of this developing story. Monday.
Why is the news making him look like a fallen hero? That's a great question. It's like, why is everyone fucking glazing this guy? It's so crazy.
Building their case. They're expected to present it to prosecutors on Monday.
While David has been arrested, charges have yet to be filed. Eyewitness News reporter Abigail Velez joins us in studio now to walk us through the timeline of the events in this case. Abigail?
Yeah, well, this case spans nearly 2 years, Colleen, and a lot of people have been asking the same question. Why did it take so long to make an arrest? Well, senior officials tell ABC News. Investigators spent...
Does 50 Cent chat? Does 50 Cent have a cameo page? Can't wait for 50 Cent to say Munya in his next song. True and fucking real.
Months building a case they could stand behind, carefully gathering evidence before making a move. That process really began last fall when a teenager was found decomposing inside a Tesla.
Well, yeah, why would it start? Why would an investigation start? But, well, I mean, I guess if you wanted to investigate him for fucking child rape, sure. But nobody was spilling the beans on this relationship. That's like, I don't know, that's a really weird way to phrase that.
April 5th, 2024. Then 13-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez is reported missing for the third time that year.
Oh, she did the thing. She did the thing where she just decided to have like a random Spanish drawl when she said the name. It's so weird when people do that.
And this time, she never comes home. April 2025, David releases his debut album, Withered. One music video shows a bloodied body being placed into a car trunk. Then September 2025, a gruesome discovery. Police tow a Tesla registered to David from a Hollywood Hills neighborhood. Inside the front trunk, decomposed, dismembered human remains stored in bags. David is on tour at the time. Days later, those remains are identified as Celeste. Investigators note a distinct finger tattoo similar to the one worn by the singer. Then police serve a...
There were some people when I was talking about this the last time who were trying to tell me I was wrong about the matching tattoo. It's like, what the fuck do you mean I'm wrong? It's been reported in a billion different places. What are you talking about?
Warrant at a home where David had been staying. By the end of September 2025, Celeste is laid to rest. Her death certificate lists the cause as undetermined due to advanced decomposition. In November, sources say David is a suspect, and investigators believe this is a homicide. Then in February 2026, court documents named 21-year-old David Anthony Burke as a main suspect. And on April 16, 2026, police arrest him at a Hollywood Hills home.
And he's only what? They said he was 21 now? Dude, it's like he aged 30 years in 4. That's kind of crazy. He looks so much older than 21.
Home. He is held without bail. On Friday, Eyewitness News learns the medical examiner officially rules Celeste's death a homicide. Now, this arrest comes after months in front of a grand jury, with the case only now heading to the DA. Now, that's not the usual order.
Abigail Velez. Oh, that other guy was probably right. I thought she might have been some flavor of Asian, but she's actually a flavor of Hispanic. So that makes sense.
Tough this case has been to put together. Reporting live in studio, Abigail Velez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
She did it with her last name, too. Evidence against singer David in killing a 14-year-old girl will be revealed in court within days. Lawyers for singer David insisted Thursday on forcing prosecutors to show what evidence they have, and a judge set a hearing for next week for them to lay it out publicly in the killing and dismemberment of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The 21-year-old, whose legal name is David Burke, appeared in a small Los Angeles courtroom in orange jail clothes sitting next to his attorneys exactly 1 year after authorities say Rivas Hernandez, a 14-year-old from Lake Ellis, North California, was last known to be alive. He does not look 21. If I was playing a guess the age of this individual game, I would have been like, this dude like 34. This dude 34, and he already has 3 kids with 3 different baby mamas. Like, there's no way. There's no way. Burke was brought into court wearing handcuffs that were ordered removed when he sat. He spoke only to say yes, ma'am, to a procedural question from Superior Court Judge Charlene F. Olmedo, who set the 4 to 5 day preliminary evidentiary hearing to start May 1st. She will determine whether there is probable cause to send Burke to trial. Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman said the prosecution has voluminous evidence that will take time to share, including child sex abuse images taken from Burke's phone with a warrant that must be handled sensitively. I cannot turn that type of materials over, Silverman said. I mean, that makes sense. You want to be very fucking careful with that kind of shit. She said the prosecution is fine with working on an incredibly tight timeline for the hearing, which usually comes many months after defendants are arrested and charged. We'll be ready, she said. Today, it's been exactly 1 year since the death of Celeste, the prosecutor said. We're eager to set this case for trial. Burke was arrested on April 16th and pleaded not guilty Monday to first-degree murder, lewd and lascivious acts with a person under 14, and mutilating a body. His lawyers spoke only about the exchange of evidence at Thursday's hearing and declined to comment outside court. But at his arraignment, defense attorney Blair Burke told a judge, "We believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez." In a rare move, the singer is exercising his right in California to have the preliminary evidence hearing within 10 court days of his arraignment. It is not entirely clear why his lawyers are pursuing the strategy. Burke said in court previously that with all the secret evidence gathered in this case, they simply want it seen. The body of Rivas Hernandez with the head and arms cut off was found in 2 bags in seemingly abandoned Tesla registered to Burke that was towed from the Hollywood Hills while he was on tour. In an autopsy report unsealed Wednesday, the LA County Medical Examiner determined that she died from 2 penetrating wounds to her upper body. The decomposing body made the examination difficult. Investigators did not determine how she got the wounds, and no weapon was recovered. Prosecutors allege Burke had been sexually abusing Rivas Hernandez for at least a year, starting when she was 13. The other article said 12, but I guess potato. They're roughly the same age. Just as fucking bad. Don't do that. Killed her on or around April 23rd, 2025, after she threatened to report the relationship and dismembered her body about 2 weeks later. Silverman said evidence includes the contents of his phone and iCloud accounts, items seized from many search warrants, and a huge amount of forensic material. It includes witness testimony given to 3 different grand juries, whose existence she confirmed for the first time publicly Thursday. Silverman said the grand juries, which have subpoena power, were called only for investigative reasons. Defense attorneys and court observers have questioned why no grand jury indictment was issued against Burke before his arrest. It's been an informative hearing, Burke, the defense attorney, told the judge. The girl's parents, Jesus Rivas and Mercedes Martinez, made their first public statements in the case on Tuesday, calling their daughter a beautiful, strong girl who loved to sing and dance, and saying all we want is justice for Celeste. David, pronounced David, gained popularity among young fans for his blend of indie rock, R&B, and lo-fi pop. He went viral on TikTok in 2022 with the hit Romantic Homicide, which peaked at number 4 on Billboard's Hot Rock and Alternative Songs chart. He reached his debut EP, Petals to Thorns, and a follow-up, The Lost Petals, in 2023. His debut full-length album, Withered, was released in 2025. If he was going to go with any kind of Burke, it should have been the Berkowitz variety. Imagine.
This is our first look at David in custody. You can see he's just wearing a black hoodie. He was pretty emotionless as he was listening to the various charges against him. There are 3 different counts: first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14 years old, as well as mutilation of human remains. One of the things that the prosecutor said is that they have a lot of forensic and digital evidence. And one of the things we're really zeroing in on is some of these video clips and pictures that are available online. I want you to look at this Twitch video.
I media trained you.
It's the one we just watched.
It's controversial of raping kids.
It's important to note that David is being charged with the sexual abuse of one child, not multiple children, and that is an important distinction to make. And when David's lawyer entered the plea of not guilty,
I guess it's important because there's only one victim, but like raping kid bad.
Did also add that they have evidence that they believe will show that David didn't commit the crime. He does have a hearing later this week on Thursday where we hope to learn a little bit more about the evidence that the prosecutors say they do have in their possession that they will be entering into court.
That seems to be the end of updates I have for our David saga. Quite a bit of stuff on David.